What is up, you beautiful people? My name is Rito and welcome to an exciting video where I'm going to shatter a lot of hopes and dreams. It's actually a video where I'm going to talk about currency conversion as well as payment gateway fees and how they actually affect your business. Now, the concepts and the numbers that I'll talk about inside this video are not just applicable to a dropshipping business, but let's say you're running a blogging business or a t-shirt business or an affiliate marketing business. So you can actually pick and choose all the breakdowns that I will lay down inside this video, and then you can figure out what kind of currency costs and payment gateway fees that you are paying in your business, so that you have a more clearer understanding of how your profits and margins and business is actually doing, right? So a lot of people make this mistake of just presuming like the only costs you have, especially with running, let's say, a dropshipping business, is your Facebook ad cost or the advertising cost and your product fulfillment cost. What a lot of people don't account for is all these ancillary costs that actually add up and make a significant portion of your revenue. Now, when it comes to business, you have to understand that e-commerce especially is a game of margins. And if you don't understand your margins, you are going to actually face losses in the long term, or you won't have a clearer understanding of how your business is actually doing. So it's important to understand what your business is actually doing. So let me just dive inside this video and show you how all of this plays out. Now, if you haven't watched my video on the tuber, just check the video out. In that video, I actually talk about how about 15% of your revenue can actually become expenses. And what this does is it affects your business in a big way. 15% is a huge amount of money. For a lot of people, 15% is actually the net profit they actually end up making at scale, right? So if you don't account for these 15% in your costs while you're running your advertisements, while you're doing all your business activities, then you might actually end up facing losses in the long run. So I don't want you to do that. I want you to really understand how things work and how banks and cards and payment processes operate, so that you can take the right decisions when it comes to scaling up or scaling down your ads. So let's start off with some basic understanding. So I'm going to be talking about two things inside this video. The first is currency conversion and the next are payment gateway fees. Now, I'm going to be talking about a dropshipping business in this case, where I'll consider the selling price of a product, a hypothetical amount of revenue generated, the Facebook ad cost, that is again hypothetical, and a product sourcing cost, again hypothetical. The whole point of this video is to show you like the percentages and how these numbers work out. What you have to do is, after watching this video, you take out all the hypotheses and then look back at your previous data, put in the numbers yourself so that you have an understanding of the real numbers, right, that are applicable in your business. So some presumptions that I'm going to make inside this video. Number one is that all your payments are coming through PayPal. Now, in my case, I have Shopify payments as well as PayPal, so the transaction rates differ there. We're going to consider a person staying in India, so they are their, of course, local currency is INR, and they're selling in United States dollars, so USD. So based off of this calculation, what I want to show you first is the PayPal cost that comes up, and this is actually from the PayPal website. If you want to receive commercial payments, the merchant rate up to 3,000 USD is 4.4% plus a fixed fee based on currency. Now, for USD, that fixed fee is 30 cents. As your monthly sales, as your monthly volume with PayPal increases, this cost actually comes down. So if you're dealing with 3,000 to up to 10,000, so you're in 3.9% plus the 30-cent fixed fee. If you're in 10,000 to 100,000 per month, then you have 3.7% plus the 30-cent fixed fee. Now, I'm of course in this range right now. I hopefully will reach this range soon. Fingers crossed. Even then, so let's consider the 4.4% for somebody who's just starting out. Let's say they don't have, they've just started their store, they're just starting to do sales. So up to 3,000, so you have a 4.4% plus a 30-cent fixed fee. What I've considered is a selling price of a $30 product. So what you're selling the product for is like 30 USD. That's the cost to customer. Your revenue generated is, let's say, 33 sales generated. So you have $990 generated. Then you have your Facebook ad cost. Let's say it's $300. Again, hypothetical. I just want to take out percentages from this. Again, product cost is again hypothetical. Let's say it's $300, right? The product cost can either be sourced from eBay, from AliExpress, from Alibaba, from US suppliers. Basically, what you're going to consider is a foreign supplier whom you're paying in USD. Now, these are the actual costs that will come inside the picture. Now, what you have is, of course, the PayPal transaction fee, which is 4.4% plus 30 cents. So I'm going to consider again without GST and with GST. So in India, the GST rate is 18% for these things. And in the end, I'm actually going to tell you why, if you're in India, you should actually register for GST. I'm going to come to that in a bit. You have 4.4% plus 30 cents, which comes out to $53 of your entire revenue, right? So your revenue generated was $990. Out of that, your PayPal, this is transaction fee, it comes out to $53 net. Then, of course, you have the supplier cost currency conversion. So what is this? So let's say you're buying from AliExpress, you have added your Visa or MasterCard, credit or debit card. So on average, about what you should expect is about 3.47 is the currency conversion fee that the cards will charge. So let's say the actual USD INR rate is right now 70. So they won't charge you 70. They'll add like 3.47% on top of that, and they'll actually charge you on the base of, let's say, 72. But not just that, they're also going to include GST in it. So I'm going to first off tell you the calculation of without GST, and then I'm going to add GST into it. So considering 3.47, so it comes out to 10 bucks, and then you have the Facebook cost currency conversion. I've put a star on this because starting like October to 2018, so all new accounts that were created in India always had the currency INR, right? So you didn't have like the USD to INR currency conversion cost there, so you won't be paying that fee. Let's say you're in a USD account, so your fee comes out to again 3.47 because that is the amount that the cards are taking, not Facebook, that the cards are charging. So let's say the Facebook bill comes out to $1,000. So cards are actually taking 3.47% from that for that currency conversion fee and charging you in INR on your card. So it comes out to $10, and then of course the PayPal transfer fee. So let's say the $990, of course you take out the transaction fee and all these expenses from it. So when it actually hits your bank account, whatever his amount is left, so it comes out to about 2.66%. It comes out about $26 without GST. All right, so what I'm going to do is right now, I'm going to add GST into the mix. So because in India, it doesn't happen without GST. If you're in a country that does not have GST and you're outside the US, so then approximately it just varies from bank to bank. So these currency conversion costs are for Indian cards and Indian banks, but I'm not sure how. Let's say you're in UK right now and you also have the same situation. So what your currency conversion costs are there. So you have to look at your account statements, your credit card statements to figure that out. Now, the way I figured these out are by looking at my credit card statements, my bank account statements, and everything else. So now considering with GST, you have to apply 18% on top of this. So what happens is PayPal does not charge 2.66%, actually ends up charging 2.66 plus 18%, which is an actual fee that is charged for currency conversion from USD to INR. And this of course happens, let's say $950 are in your bank account, in your PayPal account. If they want to transfer it to the INR bank account that you have, so they're going to take this 2.66% plus 18% off the 2.66% as the total the currency charges. So from converting USD to INR and then depositing it into your bank account. The same applies for, of course, all of these other costs as well. So the 3.47% actually ends up becoming around 4.1%. This 2.66% ends up becoming like 3.14% in net. These are the costs with GST, 31, 12, 12, and 63. So what are the total costs then? Without GST, it comes out to $101. With GST, it comes out to $119 of your total revenue generated. So here's the important picture, guys. As a percentage, you are basically saying bye-bye to 10.16% without GST. Let's just consider with GST because that is a real picture. So about 12% as a percentage you're losing out to just of your entire revenue. Like that is a big amount, like $119 out of like $990 is 12% of your entire revenue. You are basically losing out. This revenue you will never even see. So whenever you are doing your calculations in, let's say, determining your ROAS, that's why the Tuber calculation comes in so important, which I explained in that video. So if you're losing out on 12%, because for a lot of like drop shippers and a lot of e-commerce people, like I know many Americans who actually run their businesses, their drop shipping or e-commerce businesses with margins, net margins of like 5 to 10%, even 12%. So you don't have that leverage. So you're basically saying bye-bye to 12% from day number one when you're starting this business. So the more revenue that you generate, it's basically going to be around this figure. So this is just the, of course, the transaction fees as well as the currency conversion fees. So let's say, for example, your Facebook cost is, let's say, 0, because let's say you have an INR Facebook account. So that this will come out to 0. So then, of course, your costs are going to reduce. And let's say in my case, for example, so I have 3.7%. So I'm just going to add like 3.7% here instead of 4.4%. So again, the costs are going to reduce. But even in this best case scenario, pretty much the best case scenario, like you're probably scaled to like, let's say $80,000 per month. Even in that case scenario, and you have a Facebook ad account in INR, even in that case, you're paying about 10%. And now here is the important part. You see the difference here without GST and with GST. Let me just go back to the previous calculations. So without GST is $101. With GST, it is $119. You see the $18 difference. So this is big, right? Now, if you're registered for GST, you have a company and you're registered with a GST number, you will give your GST number to PayPal, to Facebook, to all of these entities, and your Visa and MasterCard as well with your banks. Whatever amount, the GST amount that is charged, that is the 18% that is charged on top of these things. So this is the difference, like the $18 difference that we have here. This will be credited inside your GST account as input tax credit. All right. So whatever these charges are, these $18 that you're basically losing out, you actually end up getting it back as input tax credit. Now, if you're selling in India, anything, e-commerce or physical digital products, whatever you're selling in India, services, whatnot, so you can offset the sales that you do in India, because you have to charge your customers also 18% for sales in India. So that offsets this cost, helps with that. If you're not selling in India, let's say you're doing just a pure dropshipping business model from like you stay in India and you sell to the United States. So then you have this $18 which comes in your input tax credit, and you can actually at the end of the year get this as a refund inside your bank account. This $18, you can get it as a refund because it's credited inside your input tax credit, because you won't be offsetting with your sales. So you'll actually be able to get this back inside your bank account, which is pretty awesome. So you actually end up saving about 2% of your entire revenue that way. So these are important things to note when it comes to like running a business. As you guys know, like I want to be upfront with you. Like I don't want to like hide something that that shouldn't be hidden. Like these are things you should know about. Like when you're running a business, it's important to know all the numbers and know the entire landscape. To actually do some proper calculations and to actually know how your business is really performing, right? So just keep a note of these costs, apply these numbers to your business, see how they'll affect your business, and then just take your scaling up or scaling down decisions based off of the tuber method that I told you earlier. So I hope this was helpful for you, and then I'll see you in the next one, but make sure you hit that like button below and make sure you subbed and bell to the Flying Start Online channel. See you next time.